Hi, this is Brandon here from NAMM 2013, and I'm here with Alex Skolnick and the Alex Skolnick Trio. How's it going, guys?
All right. How you doing, Brandon?
Doing good.
Hello, Brandon.
How you doing, man? Doing great.
Doing well, doing well. Well, the guys just got off stage performing at the Peavey booth and did a fantastic job. We wanted to talk to Alex. We've got a brand new product coming out. It's an Alex Skolnick signature Buddha amp, and wanted to have Alex tell us a little bit about the amp, the conception of the amp, and what his thoughts are on it so far. So, Alex?
Yeah, well, I just gave the amp its maiden voyage with the trio, which was a little bit of, and it was an exciting thing to do because it's a high-gain amp. And part of the idea was to have a high-gain amp that I could take on the road in a situation like Testament, and that would also work for the trio or any other, sort of more acoustically oriented band. And it worked great. I mean, it felt like our sound. I've been using a Buddha combo with these guys for the last few years. So for the clean channel, we have that sound, but this group actually has moments where we crank up the volume, and it doesn't happen often, but we'll crank up the distortion. And our tune Western Sabbath Stomp, which is like a spaghetti western tribute to Black Sabbath, we played that, and I didn't need a distortion pedal. Like, I had everything I needed in the amp, and it was I thought. I forgot to turn it up loud enough for the one channel, but once I had the right level, I thought it was the best tone I've ever had for that song.
Sure. And you guys have a new live record that you're working on putting out here pretty soon, correct?
We're planning on it. We have we're sort of at that point. We have 4 studio albums, and we have certain songs that have really evolved live, where it almost transcends the recorded version. So I think it's time to capture that and really work on that. And we're often writing new ideas as well. So we may have some new songs by then.
Yeah, some of those old songs that we did are like it's like 10 years old at this point, and we play them so differently now. And we're different players, so I think when people buy the old records at shows or online and they listen to them, it's so different than what we play now. So I think if we put that out the way we do it now, it'll be kind of like a whole new piece of music almost.
Yeah, and there is a cult following out there now. I think at this point, like he says, it's been like 10 years, going on longer. It's kind of crazy. People know this band, even aside from knowing me through Testament or any other work. This band is really having an identity of its own that's developed, and I think the next step is definitely a live album, and I think it'll likely feature this new Buddha, which I should also say has 3 channels, 3 effects loop, tube and solid state technology, a lead boost. Some certain things that have never been in an amp before. So I'm really excited. I worked closely with Paul and John and a lot of the engineers on that. So you're not getting a company telling me what to play, as certain other companies that shall remain nameless, iconic amplifier companies tried to tell me what I should. Oh, you're going to play this. You're going to love this. No. I mean, these you guys have been great. And working hands-on with Chris and all the engineers, just helping fine-tune this amp has been tremendous. So I'm really excited to introduce it.
Cool. And that amp will be available shortly. You can find out more information about that at Buddha.com. Now, Nathan, we saw you playing a pretty interesting instrument during your performance. We were wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about that instrument and what it's doing there. So.
I was playing a relatively new instrument, which is new to the bass world. It's made by Kala Brand Music Company. They're known for making ukuleles and banjos and things like that. And in 2009, they started making a ukulele bass. The idea of a short scale bass has been around for a while. They had those Ashbury basses in the 80s and 90s, and this is kind of a take on that, but built onto a tenor ukulele body. It's got these chunky black polyurethane strings, and I can get some crazy sounds anywhere from an upright type sound to a P bass to a jazz bass if I pull harder by the bridge, and it kind of works for us, when we do things where it's not possible for me to bring my acoustic upright, and it's kind of you can laugh at it. It looks kind of silly. I mean, it's this big, but I have it over here. But yeah, it's a very interesting instrument. I'm sure we're gonna do something with it. Maybe perhaps tomorrow night at our Marriott gig, maybe I'll play it on a tune.
Good. And yeah, we're going to have the Alex Skolnick Trio playing tomorrow at the Marriott. Alex, this is your third consecutive year playing at the Marriott for NAMM?
I think so, right? I think we definitely played last year. I think we played. Yeah, we played it the year before. We did.
I don't remember.
Yeah. There was a Hilton one as well. That was also with Peavey Buddha, I think in 2009. But yeah, it just seems NAMM is a great place for us to do our thing. I think there's an appreciation for diverse musicianship, and I think everybody here, all three of us, bring something different to the table that you're not going to hear, and it's not. There's a lot of instrumental music at NAMM, but I think I'm very proud of the fact that we play music that doesn't sound like what I call NAMM music, and we all know what that is,
Yeah.
where everything's just sort of the same dynamic, everything
Sort of a buzz.
yeah, and the guitar's always fully distorted, the drums are played like we have a lot of different dynamics, and when people hear us after a long day of music, it's refreshing. They seem genuinely appreciative, and that's a great thing because you don't want to overwhelm anybody after a day at NAMM. NAMM is brutal. NAMM takes a lot out of you.
Sure. And Alex is just about to leave on another tour with Testament. Alex, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like going back and forth from the trio to playing with Testament? It's quite a difference in musical styles, and as a guitarist, the fact that you can do that and go from the fusion jazz thing to the metal thing so quickly and effortlessly. Can you tell us a little bit about that dynamic for you?
Well, yeah, that took a while. When I started playing with Testament again for the reunion in 2006, I'd mostly been playing with this band, and at first it took some practice to get back in the swing and relearn how to really dig in to the metal and get the metal dynamic in the way it should be, and I would always need a lot of time going from one to the other. Now it's not a problem at all. In fact, last year the trio played at the Marriott, and then Testament was at the Grove. So I actually jumped in a cab and went and did a gig with Testament. Last night I did an event, the Diodario Artist Night, and played 70s electric jazz with Rhonda Smith from Jeff Beck and Alphonse Mouzon and Steve Weingart at 8:20, and then at 10:30 the Metal All-Stars with guys from Mastodon and guys from Anthrax and The Cult and Alice Cooper.
Sure.
So now it's nothing, but it definitely took a while to be able to go back and forth.
Sure. And you guys have been playing together quite a while. How did you guys originally meet, Alex? How did that all come about?
I actually met Alex through Matt, our drummer, because Matt and I are both from the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, and as is you. Matt and I knew each other from going to some jam sessions and stuff, and I knew that he was playing with Alex. He moved to New York a few years before me. Right after I moved to New York in 2002, a few months later, their bass player at the time quit the band. Actually, I think before he quit, I came down and sat in with you guys at the Knitting Factory.
We were
right?
doing
a weekly? Was it a weekly?
We had a weekly gig at the. Yeah, they don't do a lot of that was like a really cool thing, and we really developed our our live show there. We were playing there weekly.
It was before they blew out the wall, so it was the small bar we played every week there.
Yeah.
No, it was after that. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
it was a long time ago. But we played there every week, and we could, workshop stuff and play. And
yeah, it was whatever we wanted. It was every Sunday night at the Knitting Factory before they moved to Brooklyn. And, occasionally we'd have guys come and sit in, and Nate was somebody that sat in. And then our other bass player, John Davis, he now plays with JoJo Mayer and Nerve. He was in an indie rock band at the time and just wanted to just focus on that. And we had a tour coming up with guys, ex-Megadeth guys and their instrumental projects, Marty Friedman and Chris Poland. And the tour was booked, and we didn't have a bass player. So I said to Matt, who's that guy that sat in with us? He was great. Will he go on tour? Call him.
And there you came.
I'll never forget. I get the call from Matt, and he says, "Hey, man, John just quit the band. Alex is going to be calling you." And it was like I was still new in town. I was in town for 8 months, and like I needed a gig. I mean, I was doing little $40 gigs around town. I needed like a gig, and like getting the call was like it was a nice day. It was a really nice day. Tour was in 2 weeks, and we piled into an RV with George Hearn, and he drove us across the country.
It was a heck of a tour.
It's crazy.
RV wreck.
Yeah. It was good.
Now, you guys were our featured artists at the Peavey Hollywood opening at our new Peavey showroom. So I was just wondering if you could talk about that a little bit and what that experience was like to play at Peavey Hollywood and the showroom and the grand opening party.
That was really cool. Sunset Strip is pretty legendary, with all the music stores there. And, having Peavey shop there totally makes sense. And, it was just a great LA experience. We don't get to come out to the West Coast that often, being based on the East Coast. And it was a party, but, we had a great gig, and, it's always fun doing PV events because all the PA gear is top notch.
I'm like when we did the thing in Germany, and I'm always surprised, not necessarily surprised, but impressed by the PV PAs. Like, and the monitors and all the gear, just everything you step on stage and just play, and everything just sounds good, like immediately. So whenever we do stuff with you guys, it's so easy. We don't have to worry about anything ever. Nothing buzzing, nothing cutting out.
Everything works.
Everything works.
Well, certainly last but not least, Alex has a brand new book coming out. We were wondering, you could tell us a little bit about your book and how it came about and when it'll be available, Alex.
Okay, well, it's in its very first printing right now, and it's available at McNally Jackson Books, which is in New York.
You got it.
And they are a great independent bookstore, and you can get it. They actually make on-demand books there. So it's in the process of being stocked at Amazon and being turned into an ebook and stuff like that. But I've been working on this for several years. I always wanted to write a book, even when I was touring, doing my very first recordings and tours. Being a fan of writers like Philip Roth and Kurt Vonnegut and all these, I always thought, nobody really talks about this, the whole music thing. And there would be some great stories here. And by the time I finally felt comfortable doing it, it was all these years later. And of course, by now, there's a million books. Everybody has a book. But this is it's not just a behind the music book. It's really it's an autobiographical memoir, and it's just all about discovering music, discovering the guitar, working really hard on it. Not fitting in to your surroundings, being an oddball, joining a band, and then feeling like you don't fit into the band. And there's a lot of interesting stories. The feedback I've gotten on it so far is great. So, and it's definitely not just for music fans. It's for fans of good books.
All right, great. Well, we're definitely excited for that, Alex, and thanks for sharing that with us. Well, this is Brandon, and here with Peavey at Winter NAMM 2013. I'm here with Alex Skolnick and the Alex Skolnick Trio. Thanks so much for taking some time
Matt
to talk to us.
Zabrowski.
Matt Zabrowski,
Nathan Peck.
Nathan Peck, and, of course, Alex Skolnick. Thanks, guys.